All right, guys, this is your last lesson of the week. This is lesson 3, 8-8. I can't talk today. What's new? Reminder for you, I should have already received your quiz for 8-6 and everything before it. So if you haven't done that yet, make sure that's part of your plan today so you don't have to work over the weekend. But otherwise, I'm going to jump into this lesson on perimeter and area of rectangles. And I want to remind you, it's probably been a while since you did area and perimeter, but you do have a general sense of it. So if I told you that this side of the box was 3 meters and that this side of the box was 4 meters, in order to find the perimeter, that's when you add all 4 sides of your shape up. So perimeter is adding up all 4 sides. So that would be 3 plus 3 would equal 6. And then 4 plus 4 would equal 8. And you'd add those together to tell you that your shape is 14 meters in perimeter. And then in order to find the area, you would do 3 times 4, which is 12. And so your area would be 12 square meters. So that's something that you're used to. But today what we're going to do to make it a little bit more difficult is what if this was 1/3 and this was 1/4 instead of being 3 and 4. So that's kind of what we're going to focus on today. Basically a recap of what I just told you. Perimeter is the distance around a figure. So that would be in rectangle A. If it was 3 centimeters on the left and 5 centimeters on the top, your sides are going to be the opposite. So this side would also be 3 centimeters. This side would also be 5 centimeters. And then perimeters, you just add 3 plus 5 plus 3 plus 5, which will equal 16 centimeters in total. And your formula there is that your perimeter equals 2 times the length, and then you also add that to 2 times your width. Another way you could simply write that is perimeter is your length plus your length plus your width plus your width. And again, we do this in a little bit of a cursive way, just so you can kind of tell that they're not meant to be numbers, okay? For rectangle B, it's telling you the exact same thing, except for this time it wants to know the area. And area is asking you about the square units that cover a figure. Think about it like a carpet. So an area rug or a carpet in your parents' house, that's going to be all the squares that take up space on the inside, okay? And the way we solve that is there are 3 groups of 5 centimeters, and 3 groups of 5 is multiplication. So 3 times 5 would equal 15, and those are square centimeters, so you'd write it like that. Your perimeter there is that area equals your length times your width. Okay. So now we are going to use that information with fractional side lengths, and it seems a little scary at first, but I promised it's really truly not going to be too bad. So this says to find the area of a rectangle with fractional side lengths, you would use the exact same method you used to find the area of a rectangle with whole number side lengths. So let's look at rectangle C first. It's asking you to find the area, and in order to find the area, we have to multiply here. Okay, so here, if this had been 3 and 5, you would simply multiply together 3 times 5, right? Well, they're telling you that your area is 1/3 and that your let me strike that. They're telling you that your length is 1/3 and that your width is 1/5. Well, if we know that area equals length times width, I just need to take my 1/3 and I need to multiply it by my 1/5. So what's 1/3 times 1/5? Well, 1 times 1 is 1, and 3 times 5 is 15, and that shows me right here 1 little 15th of a square centimeter. Okay, but I'm going to jump down here real quick, and I'm going to show you how to find the perimeter of rectangle C. Well, if you'll remember, perimeter is where you literally add together your length and your other length, plus your width and your other width. So here, that's actually going to be 1/3 plus 1/3. That was this right here, 1/3 plus 1/3. And then it's also going to be 1/5 plus 1/5. Now my problem here, oops, go away. My problem here is that I cannot add together these fractions at the moment because they do not have the same common denominator. So I need to find a common denominator, and that's going to help me. But I'm actually going to combine this first. 1/3 and 1/3 is 2/3. And then 1/5 plus 1/5 is 2/5. So that's going to make things a little bit easier first. So 2/3 plus 2/5, I need my common denominator, and we already know a good one here would be 15ths. So how do I change 2/3 to be 15ths? Well, 3 times 5 equals 15, so I would do 2 times 5 here, which equals 10. Okay? And then on the other side of this, to get from 5 to 15, I would have done times 3. So what's 2 times 3? That is 6. So what I'm actually adding together are 10/15ths plus 6/15ths, which is going to equal 16/15ths altogether. We're not going to leave it like that. We are going to go ahead and reduce that, or simplify it, I should say. 15 goes into 16 one time, and that would leave me with 1/15 left over. So my perimeter is actually pretty big. It's 1 1/15, well, not big, but bigger than my area. Reminder for you, I know this is a lot to soak in, and I know I'm talking a lot, so bear with me there. But I know that in multiplication, if I multiply two numbers that are less than 1, it makes sense that my number ends up being really, really tiny. Okay, but here for perimeter, you're adding up those 4 totals together, so it makes sense that it could possibly be a little bigger. You're all doing the right things. Okay, I don't know about you guys, but this looks like information overload, so I'm going to erase it. If you haven't copied this work in your SAB, now's your chance to pause, because otherwise I am going to erase, so it's not so overwhelming. Okay? All right, so again, let me get that pen out. Your rectangle C was 1 1/15 of a centimeter as your perimeter. So let's look at rectangle D. Again, first they're showing you your area. So this was 2/3, and you can see that this could be 3/3, but it's only 2/3. And then it's showing you 4/5, and again, this could be 5/5, but they only highlighted 4. And where those 2/3 and those 4/5 overlapped is this 8 little boxes right here out of 15 little boxes that you have total. So this picture shows you 8/15, and then down here this equation is going to show you 8/15. So they're showing you that 2/3 times 4/5, well, 2 times 4 equals 8, and 3 times 5 equals 15. So that's where you get your 8/15 of a square centimeter. Now, for your perimeter, you're going to end up adding 2 groups of 2/3, which is 4/3. And yes, I'm going to leave that as an improper fraction right now. And then it's going to be 2 groups of 4/5, which is going to be 8/5. And again, I'm going to leave that as a improper fraction at the moment. So now I can't add these yet because I want them to be I want them to be equivalent or common denominators. And I'm going to make 15 be my denominator again. So how do I get from 3 to 15? That's times 5. So I'm going to do 4 times 5, which is 20. Then how do I get from 5 to 15? That's times 3. So I'm going to do 8 times 3, which is actually 24. So then if I were to add those two together, I'm going to come up with 44/15 altogether. And that's pretty cruel because I know that 45 can be divided by 15 perfectly. But long story short, that ends up reducing down to 2 14/15 of a centimeter of your perimeter. We're going to skip number 3, and I'm going to come down here, and I'm actually going to skip parts of 4 and 5, but I do want to at least show you how to draw this. So this wants you to shade and label the model to show the area of 1/2 by 1/4. Well, you can actually tell here that they're actually helping you out a little bit. This is 1/2 and 1/4. Meaning they've already drawn that for you, and I'm going to do some highlighting to show you. So they're showing you here, you could have had 2 halves, but instead that problem said 1/2 times 1/4. So then I'm going to just highlight 1/2 and 1/4, and I want you to notice where it is that they overlapped. They overlapped only right here. So that ends up becoming my answer. This is 1 square out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different squares that I could have created. So that means that my answer here is going to be 1/8 square miles. So let's look at the next one. It wants you to shade the model to show 1/2 times 3/4. So this time I'm going to label 1/2 down here because there's 2 halves. And then here I am going to basically show you 3/4 here. So let me show you what that looks like in highlighting. So if I had 1/2, I'm going to highlight across there. And then if I had 3/4, I'm going to highlight down by 3. And then I want you to notice where it is that they overlap. These 3 right here overlapped. And there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 little squares all together. So this time they're showing you that 1/2 times 3/4 is 3/8, and that's what that picture shows you as well. Okay, this is just a reminder for you guys of how to find an unknown side length. I apologize, I'm moving kind of fast, but you're going to do some work on your own today, so I want to give you all the information ahead of time. So this says, what is the length of a rectangle with a width of 27 feet and then an area of 918? Well, in order to figure this out, that's actually going to be a division problem. So you would have done 918 divided by 27. It's been a while since we divided by double-digit numbers, so just a reminder, you just kind of want to find a number to help you estimate. So 30 would have gone into 91 probably 3 times, so we're just going to check that. We're going to do 27 times 3. 3 times 7 is 21. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 2 is 8. So 81 definitely seems like something that I could subtract from here. So 3 times 27 was 81. We subtract that and we get 10. So that'll be 108. And I'm going to be willing to bet that this is actually one more full group of 27. So let's do 27 times 4. 4 times 7 is 28. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 2 is 10. And that's exactly right. So that helps me figure out that my missing number here is 34 feet. Okay. I would like to do just a couple of problems here. The next page that you have is asking you to find not only the perimeter and area, but then it also wants you to find the side length of a rectangle by doing some of that division work. So I'm going to do one problem from each, and I'm going to choose number, let's do number 8, okay? So reminder for you, your perimeter is where you add your length, your width, and your width. So 2 meters and 2 meters would be 4 meters. And then 2 groups of 10 and 4/5 is actually going to be 20 and 8/5. And I'm going to have you leave that as is for right now. So if I'm going to add this, I'm going to add 4 meters and 20 meters. That's going to be 24 and 8/5. And then my final job is just to change this to a mixed number. 5 goes into 8 one time, so this would be 25 instead of 24. And then that would be 25 and 3/5. As far as labels goes, reminder for you that you are not doing squared when it's your perimeter. The squares only come around for your area. So then, in order to find the area though, that's going to be 2 times 10 and 4/5. I'm going to change 10 and 4/5 before I even get started now. 5 times 10 is 50. 50 plus 4 is 54. So I know that this is going to be 54/5. 2 times 54 is 108. And 108/5 is going to be my answer. It's just that we don't want to leave it that way. So I know that this is going to end up, I'm going a little bit faster. So this is going to end up being 21 and 3/5. So my answer here would be 21 and 3/5 square meters. Real quick, I just want to show you one here. This is telling me 2 square feet is the area and 1/3 of a foot is one side. So I need to do to my 2 square feet, and I am going to divide that by 1/3. The way we write that is not like that. We would do 2 divided by 1/3. And the good news is if you remember keep, switch, flip, that's going to be 2. Keep my first number, switch my operation, and then flip my fraction. That tells me that this number right here should be 6. I can double check that. 6 times 1/3 to find the area would give me an answer of 2, which matches that. Okay? I know I flew through that a little bit, guys, so maybe watch it a couple of times for help. I'm going to ask you a big favor. I know this is a lot of work, but I actually think that this should be your only option for today. I wouldn't want you to do the well, you can do the IXL, that's fine, but the homework and remembering I definitely wouldn't do. But try out some more of these problems. Obviously, log into Zoom if you need any help, and I would totally give you some of the answers to check to make sure you were right. That would be an awesome use of your time. And just think about it like this. This is your last math lesson for the week, so you might as well get some good practice in since you don't have a fourth one you have to do, okay? So try to do me a little bit more work. You could finish up the rest of these word problems, plus all these problems that we missed. That would be a really great use of your time. Log into Zoom if you need any help. Good luck!